she said, don't worry, everybody's just glad I'm doing it and not any of you having to get up and talk in front of anybody. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Pastor Todd, if you want to get the cookie out of your mouth and say a prayer for us.
All right, that was good cooking. Let's have a prayer. Gracious God, thank you for peace, for this community that is so much a light in this dark world, and thank you for all the people who are a part of this community over the years, who dreamt this community and have put it together and have grown this outpost of your love. And as we meet as a congregation and vote on various things, including our budget and the officers who will be leading us and all of that, we pray for your Spirit's guidance so that we can continue to be your church and that we would be the church you have designed us to be. All these things we ask in your good and gracious name, and all God's people said, amen.
Did you sign in to be here?
There was one, but I think it was 41. She's checking my ID to make sure. Yeah. Okay, I guess what I'd like to do is have everybody, at one point I'll be entertaining a motion to approve the minutes, but has everybody had a chance to look through things? Does anybody need a copy, or is there was some in the back? If somebody could maybe just raise their hand if they need to. It's page 3 in the pamphlet. So. Anybody else need to see one? Then I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes by Doug. Is there a second by Al? Is there any discussion? Anybody have any changes? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? That passes. Okay. Jared, let's hear about our capital campaign report.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is going to be brief because my report is in your packet, and I'm sure you've all read it already and know everything about it, but I'm going to give some updates because it's really exciting. This capital campaign has made many transformations. As you look around, you've seen the projects that have been completed, the beautiful kitchen, the lights that work in the parking lot, and the electronic message board sign, to name a bunch of others. But just wanted to quickly summarize. So as you may or may not recall, our capital campaign had a goal of $750,000. To date, we've received commitments of approximately $725,000, and the good news is we have a whole year left, so we can still meet that goal. Funds that have come in, approximately 78% of that $725,000 commitment, or $567,000. So that's been great to see all those commitments come to fruition. The list of projects that have been completed, I think a lot of you are aware, but electrical boxes, AC units, the sign I mentioned, the steeple, and then the kitchen remodel. One of the things one of the components associated with the capital campaign when we set out on this journey was the commitment to missions and the commitment to reducing the debt on the mortgage. To date, approximately $22,000 has been directed towards the missions, and the mortgage has been reduced by $21,000 approximately. Projects remain to be completed, obviously the dishwasher, the parking lots, and then some brickwork that'll be completed in conjunction with that when the parking lot. And then we also have the preschool that council is continuing to consider. So in summary, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that participated in this campaign. We do have a year left, so if you have any questions about it, come see me. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. It's making a difference here at Peace and our role in this community as we continue to serve God's people. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Okay, let's move on. Gail.
Welcome to all. Loud enough. Now we get to go to the fun part about the numbers that everybody enjoys. First of all, I want to do a huge thank you for all the generosity that all of you have given. Peace and all the activities is 100% funded by all of you. So we are really doing well. We had a really progressive year. Attendance was up, activities constantly going on. Really great to see in the year. Some of the highlights, if you look at the pages in your booklets are 28 to 30. There's the graphs. They show the trends for the income and the expenses for the year compared to our budget. And those that prefer actual numbers, if you go to pages 31 to 33, the first column on the left is the actual numbers for 2024. We had income, the total for the year of $595,000 and expenses of $532,000. So we ended up in the black with about $63,000, which is excellent. It's above the prediction that was made. Yes, give yourselves a hand. December gifts alone were $112,000, and since I've been treasurer, that's the highest I've seen in December, and always December is our largest month. Jared talked about the capital campaign, and that's separate from our numbers here. But so people are giving for the general contributions besides to the capital campaign. So there's really two different funds going on. I just wanted to end to talk a little bit about our mortgage. We rewrote the mortgage in 22. And at that time, we got a rate. We rewrote it a little bit early because we got a better rate at 5.75, and that's a fixed rate for 5 years. And that goes, I believe, until the beginning of 28. Our mortgage at the beginning of 24 was $468,000, and at the end of the year, we ended up with $434,000, which was a $34,000 reduction. So what Jared said about what came from the capital campaign, it's 10% of every project that's completed. And then we also are still keeping up on our $3,500 payment. So that really helps when we get a large reduction. The capital campaign money all goes against the principal. So are there any other further questions on the 24 report?
because we're online.
Who is the support staff?
The support staff is really everyone except our pastors and deacon. So it's myself, Lindsay, Quentin falls in that category, the music director.
When is it anticipated that the mortgage will be paid?
Well, I'd have to figure out the amortization schedule, because right now, just out of the 3,500, about just breaking it even, 2,000 goes to interest and 1,000 and like 1,500 to the principal. So you'd have to, so you'd have to divide that out. But now with the capital campaign, we're getting further reductions on the principal, so that'll make our interest drop. Does that answer? Well, we'd have to figure out number of years, but we really can't at this time because we don't know what else. Yeah, right. It is a few. So the more we get on the principal, the better off we are. Thank you, Carol. Any other?
Lindsay, keep that. Got questions or anything? Are we on? Hey. Mine is going to be real brief. First, I just want to thank everybody in the council. Oh. Can I have a motion? I'm calling for a motion to approve the treasurer's report. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Jared, I think, wasn't it that made the motion? And Julie made the second. Sorry about that, Margaret. I've really never run a meeting like this, so I'm not really sure what I'm doing. All right. My report will be brief. I just want to thank everyone on the council, pastors, all the staff. You make my job pretty easy. So without them, how many are here? Could we just stand up who's on the council? There we go. Thank these guys. They put in a lot of time. So appreciate it. Whatever I say, you can see in my report. We've had a great year at Peace. Just going to the fundraiser last night kind of made me proud to be a member, and it was awesome showing the support of everything. We've had some different staff changes. I'm sure Pastor Todd will be talking about that, but it was a real tough decision. What are we going to do? Can we afford this? And we did a lot of praying, a lot of thought, a lot of extra meetings on ways that we could make this work. And we think we made a great decision in hiring Amanda, switching around some of our other positions. Again, Todd will be going through that. But I'm really looking forward to 2025. So the only other thing I'd like to add to my report is my name is John Ostfeld, and here's my cell number. If you got questions, give me a call. And I'm pretty confident if you talk to anybody else on the council, we need to hear from you guys if there is questions or issues. Because we can't fix it if we don't know what's going on. So please do not be afraid to get a hold of any of us. Okay? That's it. Now, do we just start with the committee and associate reports? I need to put my cheaters on. Staff reports are next, so here we go. You ready?
You're the lead pastor. You should go first. You go down with the ship, okay. My report in the actual report physical is a little bit long, but there were some things that I really wanted to bring to your attention. And I know some of us we learn better by reading, and some of us learn better by hearing, and so I'm going to reiterate a couple of things that are in here. So first of all, how many of you know that we have an endowment fund? We've been talking about it quite a bit. How many of you understand perfectly how an endowment works? Oh, a few. Okay. So here's the deal. Elmer Munson started this, the endowment fund? Okay. Endowment fund. Okay. So Elmer Munson started that a number of years ago because he wanted to create some seed money for us to grow this endowment fund. We are up to $93,000. Now that doesn't sound like a lot. It's not really a lot. But part of the endowment is that every year we use the interest that we've earned off of that to do something in our congregation. Now, the interest this year was about $3,000. So we made a decision at the Memorial Trust met, and we didn't have any grants that were turned into us. That's the important thing for you all to know, that if you're on a committee or a group here, you have an opportunity to apply for some of that interest money every year. So we have forms available for you if you're interested in applying for that money. Since we didn't have any, we made a decision. Part of it is that some of the money needs to go to some kind of mission, whether it's global or local. We made a choice to give $500 to the Link because we know that they have been suffering with food shortages. This will help them to buy more food. Excuse me. And then we have two new staff members that were in need of laptops. So we used the remaining $2,500 to purchase technology for them. So every year we have that opportunity to give that. It doesn't sound like a lot of money. It's not. And part of the capital campaign is hoping that we can grow this endowment fund so that we can be at a place where we don't have to have capital campaigns anymore, so that we can take that money that we've earned off the interest of the endowment and use it to replace the 50-year-old windows on this end of the building. So you see, we can keep doing that. So every little dollar that you give to the endowment is important. And if you are thinking long-term, assets are great. Things that you can use, land and all those things are important gifts that can help build that endowment fund. It's really important for our congregation so we can be self-sustaining in the future. Then the next thing was Tuesday's table. Okay, for those of you who know, this 17-year ministry has been led by Vicki in our congregation for all of those years. And she is retiring. She wants to spend more time for herself and her family, and we just so appreciate all that she has done. So we are looking to change that up a bit because we are not Vicki. And so we need some folks to step up. And so if you look in my report, we have donors and doers. So one of the things I bet you don't know is that it costs us about $300 to $400 a month to put on those meals for all of the people who come. We get money from the Teals receipts. And we get donations, and Vicki has been very good about shopping and getting donations, and we'll continue to do that as much as we possibly can. We have lots of contacts to do that. But it still costs us a substantial amount of money to put those meals on. So we are looking for folks who would be donors, those who would commit to maybe doing 1 month a year. Okay, we do it 12 months a year most of the time, unless Tuesday falls on Christmas Eve like it did this year. But plan on 12 months. So if you have in your heart to be a donor, that would be totally awesome. Whatever amount you could give will help us to help support this Tuesday's Table ministry. For now, we are going to be operating. I'm going to be helping to coordinate, but that does not mean that I am going to be cooking every month. I'll say that right away. But We already have a group who is ready to go for February. So the doers are those people who might be able to step up and prepare a meal. Once a month, a meal. You have to do it 1 month. You don't have to do it all 12 months. Or maybe you want to choose to do 2 months. Whatever your heart is calling you to do. We will help you. Because we have food donated to us through Jenny-O and other places. We will help you help plan the meals. So we also are looking at someone else who might be stepping up. We're praying about that person to step up and take that coordinating role. So we need donors and doers for this very important ministry because we don't want to see this go away. This is too important for our community and for our congregation. Like you experienced yesterday, it's a whole community coming together, and we are just so thankful for that. One of the ways that we do help to fund Tuesday's Table is through writing Thrivent grants. If you are a Thrivent member, you have an opportunity to write a grant twice a year for $250 each. So that's $500 a year that you can use to help. Now, we've used it for multiple things. We used it for the benefit yesterday. We use it for Tuesday's Table. We use it for, Soul Hope. We've used it for just a wide variety. Wednesday meals, Kids Club. We've used it for anything we can think of. Because if you are a Thrivent member, we have been told that we're leaving money on the table that has gone unused. So if you are a Thrivent member, and I know some of you are, because of their rules, they cannot give me the names. I can't get your names. They can't give me a list because of privacy. But if you are a Thrivent member, please talk to me. And I will put you on my list. I've got a list started, and I will help you, and Lindsay will help you. We will walk through getting grants, helping you write the grants. It's super simple. So if you have those things, please just talk to me. If you have questions about any of those, you can visit with me later.
Right. Any questions for Pastor Linda before she heads off? Okay, I've got a couple things to talk about too. And a lot of it, I'm going to echo a little bit like what Pastor Linda said. It's in my report, but Lindsay has talked about getting lots of questions now and then from people, a little confused on what is all happening with staffing and Lindsay's position and all that. So it's good to read it or hear it or both. We are doing a little shuffling in our staff. Jane Wardell had been our faith formation director, and she left us a couple of years ago. And we've been doing her job, a group of us that are on staff, kind of trying to cover all the bases, but it would be ideal to have that faith formation person. Over that period of time, it's become kind of our discernment that Lindsay would be perfect in that position, and so our personnel team met and interviewed Lindsay, and so we are hiring Lindsay officially as our faith formation person. She will, like Jane, she will oversee our education, our Sunday school, what happens here on Wednesday nights. She's not our youth director, so she won't be doing youth group things like Jane may have done, because we have Quentin who oversees that whole area. But unlike Jane, she will also be kind of looking into some small group ministry here at Peace, not just for kids, but for adults and young families. And so there's kind of a whole area to explore and just creatively see what options are out there. And so I'm excited that Lindsay, along with the rest of the staff, we're going to kind of look into what possibilities there are. We can't officially move Lindsay into that position until we replace her position in the office. But we're taking a huge chunk of her position as office manager as far as the communication piece. And we're giving that to Deacon Amanda, who specializes and has a degree in communications. And so she's going to oversee our social media, our website, everything from the sign to communications to the congregation. And taking that away from that office manager position leaves someone we need to hire who will be a great receptionist, good presence in the office, will put together the bulletins and other publications, that sort of thing. And if you know anyone, please encourage them to apply. We just need someone. It's 20 hours a week, so it's not going to pay the rent. But if someone's looking for a little something extra and has some skills in those areas, that would be great for you to pass that word along. Deacon Amanda will also then be sharing some pastoral kind of duties as well, joining Linda and me in making some visits or leading worship, that sort of thing. So we all kind of have our specialty areas, and so communication will be her specialty area. Right now, Deacon Amanda is at 3/4 time. Lindsay will be moving into full-time as far as that, 30 hours. It's kind of just on the border of full-time with that faith formation position. And then, as I said, 20 hours for the office person. So that's kind of what's happening in our staffing, and we're just in this transitional phase, and we just need some patience through this process because we are a work in progress, and I'm excited about the work, but it's not going to happen overnight. And so the more we can encourage you all to be patient with us, it will help us in making this transition work well. While we're at it, we're also transitioning how we communicate as a congregation. And so we are entering into a contract with a company called Subsplash, and they are going to help us kind of keep our communications a little more central to a one-stop shop. In the end, we hope that all of you who have any kind of a smartphone will have a Peace app. And on that Peace app, you'll be able to do everything from bring up an old sermon to register your kids for Sunday school or volunteer to work at Tuesday's table. So it'll be a one-stop shop where you can go for any of those things, and it will really simplify how we communicate. For those who don't have a smartphone, we're going to continue to communicate in the ways we have been too, so no worries, but many people have phones now that would allow an app to do that, and we're going to help you with how to get that app and how to understand it. So that's happening right now. It's a long process to switch systems. So again, patience is the word. We had a staff retreat a couple weeks ago, and we talked about all these transitions before us, and we thought a word that we could have as a staff for the year is intentional, because we want to be intentional about how we communicate. We want to be intentional about being patient, and we want to be intentional about helping everyone kind of join, come along with the changes ahead. So again, we hope you can help us in that. Two other things I just want to quickly mention. Backing up to Jared's report, we got one wonderful piece of good news when it comes to our child care center, and that is that Peace was awarded a $100,000 grant to help us in creating that child care center. So that moves us much further along in the process. Eventually, the big long-range picture is that we will create 2 spaces for child care, for daycare, that someone will come in and rent here at Peace, down at the very end of the hall there, the old part of the facility. But those spaces need refurbishing and updating, and that's where that grant money will be going, along with some of our capital campaign money. So this will be great. We've got such an incredible facility, what a gift it is, and let's utilize it and put it to some good ministry there. So that's a piece of good news. One other piece I want to just tell you about is we have been approached to enter into some kind of contract help for the Big Grove Crow River Grace Parish. So they are our neighbors just to the, what direction would it be? North. So anyway, their deacon, Brenda Handel Johnson, she left. She has taken a call in St. Peter. Pastor Lisa Mischke is the pastor there, and so she is looking for some interim help. So nowadays, as you probably know, there's a huge pastor shortage, so we don't have interim pastors just waiting at the edges, ready to jump in and help. But we are a congregation who can help, and particularly now it helps that our staff is more full. So we will be starting in March, hopefully, with the council approval here, sending one of us to help lead worship services there each Sunday, and then they end up in this contract. Paying piece, I think the contract is $24,000, so that will certainly help some of our financial concerns there. So that is in the works, and that will be a very good thing for us and for them. It's a win-win, and it's kind of the wave of the future when it comes to how churches need to be there to help each other. So I'm glad that we're able to step in to that. Last but not least, I promised a little fun, and the fun won't happen right now, but if you wouldn't mind passing those out, Amanda and Parker. At that staff retreat, we decided to talk about Fat Tuesday. I've long been a fan of Fat Tuesday because Lent is a long season and sometimes can be kind of a heavy season, and the people down in New Orleans really have it right that they party up a little bit and burn the fat. And so we do that, and our staff is going to put on just a fun night. And each year when we've done this, it's been a different theme. This year, because it's just 2 days after the Oscars, we are going to mock the Oscars and have red carpet, and we're going to have a fun gala event and called the Peace Awards, and we're going to just have a good time together, some musical entertainment and some goofy awards that are given out, and we'd love to have you join us for that, because the staff, we're going to work hard on putting together a fun night, and it's free and for all ages. So the card's being passed out just to save the date, March 4th, Fat Tuesday. If you can't make it to New Orleans, then this is the next best place. So any questions at all for me? All right, thank you. Oh, there is a question. Sorry, I thought you just needed a card. Are you on? Okay.
Last year, there we go. Last year we'd got a $32,000 grant for the child care. Now it's great. We've got $100,000. How do those two grants work together?
Yeah.
Do those tally?
The $32,000 grant that we received last year had kind of a time ticker on it, and we just needed to look like we were seriously working toward having something very, that's concrete and happening, or we would lose it by the end of last year. And we are in that we're working towards something, so we still have that $32,000 scholarship, or grant, and then we have the $100,000 grant. So, yep, we have both of those right now. Any other questions? Yeah. She's coming.
Test. I know that Crow River Lutheran Church is Wells. That doesn't matter because we're ELCA.
Well, the one where Pastor Lisa is ELCA. Yep. So there's 3 parishes: Big Grove and Grace, that is right in Belgrade, and then Crow River Lutheran, which if it was Wells, it isn't anymore. There's a Crow River Lutheran that is ELCA. So there could be 2, for all I know. Good question. Any others? All right. Thank you.
Good morning, church. I want to keep this short and I want to keep this light. Our staff, we had a word this year which was intentional. And if I were to take my youth report that is in your packet for your enjoyment, I would take two words. I would say envelopes and I would say growth. Envelopes. Number one, in November, we had a board sitting out behind you in the gathering space with envelopes on it from the numbers 1 through 100, and we asked for your partnership, and thanks be to God, you responded. At the end of November, all of those envelopes were taken and spoken for. We had donations from $1 up to $100 and beyond, which totaled $5,000. That $5,000, yeah. Thank you for your support and for your partnership on that. That $5,000 is going into a designated fund, and it's already being used. We have an upcoming ski trip, and part of that $5,000 this time around for our ski trip is going to help cover the bus. It's going to help cover the bus driver, and it's going to help cover adults that go with, so that our kids that come on this event only have to pay for the equipment that they get raised. What a great example of partnership and support and growing our youth ministry. Number two, growth. I just want to highlight a couple things. When I first started here 3 years ago, people would come up to me and they would say, Q, how is youth ministry going? And I'd have to awkwardly smile at them and say, Jesus says where two or more are gathered, right? Well, we are so far beyond that. One of the great growths that we saw this year is this fall we had fifth quarter events. We had games and fellowship after 3 of our 4 home football games. On 2 of those, we had over 100 students in middle school at 2 of those events. On top of those 100 students, I had another 15 high school kids that came and helped supported that on 2 of those nights. The other night was like 90, so we were super close. One night I was curious, so I had all these kids write down what churches they're coming from. We had 14 area churches, from Nordland and Painesville to Grove City to Atwater. 14 area churches was represented here. What an amazing community outreach and what an amazing partnership with Faith Lutheran that we created with my position. I celebrate that. The other thing I celebrate this fall is the growth in our high school youth programming. You see it a lot. We call ourselves LIFE. It's a shared high school youth group with Faith Lutheran Church, and it stands for Live Your Faith, LYF. One of the great things that we did this year is with Pastor Todd's encouragement and nudge, and he said, I did this in the past and it worked, and it's worked great for us. I have a leadership team, and we meet monthly with a breakfast, and they plan events for life, and we've had great events all the way through so far this school year. And for reference, this summer we had about 4 to 6 that came strong. In this fall, we've had events like a movie night where we used the theater in Halloween. We did a game night for the Link. That event raised about 170 pounds of food that got donated. And both of those events saw 20 to 30 high schoolers on a Wednesday night coming into our buildings and experiencing the life-changing love of Jesus. All of this is to say it's been an incredible year, and it's a privilege to serve the great people of Faith Lutheran Church and the community of faith that we are creating here. Thank you. Oh. You'll have to forgive me. Peace Lutheran Church, I love you. Thanks for your grace.
Thanks, Quentin. Are there any other committee associations that would like to speak? Oh, look at all the volunteers. Well, the reports are in here. So, presentation ballot. We have one person running for council. That's Deb Schweigerill. And I'll be rerunning. And Mary Semler. So we would be the 3 that are on the ballot. I suppose I would ask for a motion if... Whoop. Okay, do we have a second? Julie? Yeah, we got it. Margaret's writing this down. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Well, okay. You have to talk. Okay, yes. Pastor Todd would like to talk about some delegates.
All right. And just a reminder to our council members, right after the meeting, go directly. Don't pass, go. You got to go straight to the fireside room for a really quick meeting, and then you can head out. So we do need the election of some delegates. We can have up to 6 people go to our conference assembly, and then we can have, Linda, how many for the synod? 5. We can have 5 delegates for our synod assembly. The synod assembly is the very, kind of the very first, like 7th, 8th of June. It's a Friday, Saturday at 𝗬𝗂𝗃. And we are looking for some delegates. If you've never gone to a synod assembly, let me tell you, it's eye-opening to just see the bigger church at work and to realize, wow, the world kind of suddenly opens up and there's a whole lot more that is exciting about ministry and challenging. So we'd love to find some volunteers who wouldn't mind going to that synod assembly, and then typically those that are going to synod assembly would go to the conference assembly. And do you know when that is, Linda? Yes. Okay. Okay. Conference assembly 23rd. I should read my report. Okay. So, but I'm looking for anyone who's willing to go to the synod assembly, or at least even consider it, because we would love to have people go to that. We'll be having to kind of connect with people if no one wants to, but I see a lot of people looking down suddenly, so. Okay. Okay. So anyway, please prayerfully consider that, because for those, raise your hand if you've been to a synod assembly. Okay, so a few of you have done this before. It's a good experience, so I encourage you to volunteer. Thank you.
There's no old business, is there? Okay, we are looking at old business, and there's nothing down. Does anybody have anything that's been talked about before that we need to talk about? Seeing none, let's move on to new business, and that would be the proposed budget. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the budget for 2025. Who is that? Norm? Do we have a second? Leroy? Leonard, I'm so sorry. Any discussion? Anybody need more time? Then I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor of approving the budget, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else? Linda, I would like to call on you. Wake up.
That's me. Thank you. Well, that concludes, huh? So let's close in prayer as we go out into the world. So let us pray. Amazing God, we thank you for each and every day that you have given us, for the beauty of this day, for the opportunity to gather in your name, not just to worship, but to do the business of your church, to be about sending and going and being in the world, to do what you have called us to do, and to act with love and justice and mercy for all people. You are an incredible God, and we thank you for the blessings of this place, the incredible ministry that happens here, but also for the way that it goes out from here, that it goes out into the streets and out into the community and the schools. Send us, Lord, to be your hands and your feet in all the places that we go. And all God's people said, Amen. Motion to adjourn.
Her motion, Jared? Do we have a second on that? Leonard seconds that to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes. Thanks, everybody, for coming.